Alright, good afternoon. We are back on the record in case number D175606000F. This was the time and date set for the continuation of an evidentiary hearing. After quite a bit of discussions today, it has been deemed that it is in the best interest of the child for him to remain in Virginia, no matter what the outcome of what the rest of the facts were at this point. The parties have reached a resolution, and I really appreciate the hard work and the concessions that was given. I really appreciate it, to both of you. Ms. Kerrigan, I'm going to let you put the terms on the record.
Okay. So for the child's summer visitation, Joseph will keep the child until 24 hours after Father's Day or his birthday, whichever is later, and your birthday is?
June 18th.
June 18th. That will be 24 hours after that will be the start of Mom's summer visitation, and the child will return 2 weeks prior to the start of school to Dad. For winter break, Mom will get the majority of winter break in odd years, and she will return the child on the Thursday before school starts so that Dad can celebrate his holiday time. In even years, winter break will be divided equally, and Dad will always have the portion of break that includes December 25th.
In the even years.
Even years, yes. For Mom already has every spring break from Saturday to Saturday. I have in my notes, we would still ask that she provide an itinerary and address if staying outside Clark County.
Yes, that pretty much goes with the joint legal custody provisions.
And Mom will still have the option for Thanksgiving in Virginia. She does need to provide 30 days notice if she's going to exercise that. She can pick Ethan up from school at the start of his Thanksgiving break if she's provided written notice in Our Family Wizard that she's exercising Thanksgiving, and she returns him the Sunday before school starts. Mom also has permission to travel on the East Coast during that Thanksgiving visit, as long as she's to see family for Thanksgiving, as long as she's provided an itinerary of where she's traveling with Ethan in advance.
She can also take him to Disney World. It doesn't have to be just limited to family.
Thank you.
She can go where she wants on the East Coast.
On the East Coast. Okay.
But on the East Coast, not bring him back here, not take him on a long plane ride,
Okay.
not take him to Virgin Islands,
Okay.
England. Just here on the East Coast.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Mom will have the option to exercise 1 weekend a month in Virginia. She needs to provide 14, that one we had 14 days written notice. Let me see what
I think we said on that one there it's 14 days.
okay, 14 days written notice in Our Family Wizard to Dad. If there is a month that includes a 3-day weekend from school, that is not a holiday that has already been provided to Dad, such as Father's Day or his Christmas visitation, Mom can provide notice that she intends to work that weekend.
The 3-day weekend.
The 3-day weekend.
Okay.
Can I put a quick clarification right here? When the court says notice, Mom's going to provide notice. I want Dad to listen, so I'll wait.
Okay. Go ahead.
When the order says notice, it's not, and Mom says I'm coming this weekend, it's not up for debate, it's not asking for permission. It is, I'm giving notice, I'm coming this, at least
Correct.
the 3-day weekend, or I'm coming this weekend.
Correct.
So I don't want the parties to fight over that, because that's going to be Mom's
The reason why it's 14 days is so that now, weren't we talking about we're going to limit it? It's going to have to be like the second weekend of the month. She'll give 14 days notice, that way he knows not to plan anything on that weekend.
You mentioned that, but I don't know that either one of us were really excited about that.
Well, I think the reason why I'm doing it that way, Dad knows not to make special plans on that particular weekend until it's within that 14 days. Then he can make plans.
Well, my question is, you saying that I can never make Thanksgiving plans?
The prior order gave Mom Thanksgiving, and Mom has to give you 30
It did.
days notice if she's
It did.
exercising. I can
No.
show you
If it's
This is the order, she didn't
On
exercise
even
it.
years.
That's not the order.
in even years,
Oh, I'm
For
sorry,
Thanksgiving?
even years.
okay,
I'm
mom gets
sorry.
Thanksgiving in
I'm
even
sorry,
years.
I'm wrong on that, even years, yes.
Yeah. Mom, so make sure your notes is right. She has to give the 30 days notice. That way, in the even years, if she
30
doesn't
days,
give you the
okay,
30
okay,
days
I'm
notice,
sorry. Okay,
you can make plans.
okay, good.
Just like on this here, if we state second weekend of the month, then we know absolutely, first of all, that incorporates Mother's Day. Because Mother's Day is always the second Sunday of the month, of May.
Right. You have all the 3-day weekends with a 30-day notice.
Okay?
What
This
we're
is
trying
when
to do
there
is-
is no 3-day weekend.
Right, like right now, there's nothing from now until Christmas. So she's already, unless it's Labor Day, she's already wondering when she can see her son. And the only 3-day really is Labor Day.
Yeah.
So that's why we're affording her the opportunity to travel there.
Veterans Day this year, too.
Okay, maybe a Veterans Day, but she could travel
Yeah.
there once a month.
That's
and exercise a weekend.
that's why I'm saying let's state like the second weekend of the month.
Okay.
That way, Dad can make plans all the rest of the weekends 3 months out and not have to worry about it being disrupted. It's only that second weekend of the month that Dad needs to be careful. And then if he wants to do something on the second weekend, let's say 30 days out, hey, Mom, I got this plan, I would like to make this plan on the second weekend. If you're wanting to come, can we do it like you come out on the third weekend?
Sure. Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Okay, so we're doing second weekend, but what does that do with the 3-day weekend holidays?
If there's a 3-day weekend, it supersedes the 3-day weekend. Or
2 days.
that's the second weekend of the month.
Okay.
And
It
then
takes precedence or whatever the word is.
do we need to set a time? So if Mom were to have a weekend, it would start Saturday morning at 8 or would start Friday
It's going to
night?
start after school. If
After
Mom is
school.
coming, it will start after school because I want Mom to be able to utilize any trips out there to talk to teachers and stuff like that.
Okay.
So she would be able to pick them up after school,
And return Sunday by 8 p.m.
and return to Dad Sunday at 8 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mom must purchase round-trip tickets and provide proof of the round-trip tickets for her visitation within, we went back and forth, 15 days or 20 days? 20 days is what we were asking for.
I would say between 15 and 20 days.
What
And
was
that's going to
it?
be proof of the child's ticket.
Proof of the child's ticket, nobody else's.
Right, but this allows the parent, if they want to travel with the child, to purchase their ticket.
That's why 15 days, because it's 10 days when it really gets expensive.
Well, I just need notice that she's coming, that way I don't
That's
have to.
15 days.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, 15 days. The order regarding the child's phone calls will be, the child will have phone calls with the non-custodial parent on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Those phone calls will be in the child's time at 7:30 p.m. The phone calls are not to exceed 30 minutes. Neither party will record these phone calls, and the child should have privacy. For these phone calls, the child will be permitted to call each parent one time per day at his choice.
Except for the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because they're already talking to the child. In other words, instead of having 2 phone calls on Mondays, Wednesdays, and
What if
Fridays,
he wants to talk twice on Monday, but not at all on Tuesday? I mean,
Wednesday?
or,
That's ridiculous.
The key with this is I want to make sure that everybody knows that the child can talk to their child those 3 times. No more than that. The child should be allowed to talk to either parent whenever he wants, within reason, but I'm going to limit it to once a day because I believe there may be an unusual connection between the son and the child right now. And the child would talk to Dad for 3 hours if we would let him. And this is Mom's time. Don't get that look on your face, Dad. I know you don't agree with it, but this is Mom's time. You're not going to utilize Mom's time.
I don't get any phone calls, Your Honor.
That we're ordering it now.
It was court ordered, Your Honor, for the past year.
We're ordering it.
He is frustrated, and I think it is going to be detrimental to Ethan
Yeah.
to say, I want to call Dad, and be told, nope, it's Monday, you're going to talk to Dad later, you can't call Dad. I don't think that that's a good.
Then if the child calls Dad, he doesn't get the 7:30 phone call. If he's already talked to the child that day, that's his one phone call for that day. And vice versa.
This order is going to include the full definition of joint legal custody so that
Yes.
both parties are on notice of what joint legal custody entails.
Thank you.
The parties are going to try family coaching for parents with Anna Trujillo. They're going to split the cost, and they're going to try this in good faith for 3 months. If either party decides that this is not working, they can terminate at that time. If the parties want to continue, it will be at their own choice.
Yeah. If it is so horrible that it's just spinning everybody's wheels and wasting time, y'all can just stop. But please, in good faith, try. It is for your son.
Okay. We're going to keep the child support provision as it's stated in the order that was filed July 22nd, 2021. That includes the provision for purchase of the plane tickets and the offset that mom receives.
We'll just quickly note there that we're not gonna touch it today. But mom's been out of work, she's coming back to work 2 to 3 days, we expect her to be full-time. If for some reason she's not working,
If something comes up and,
Ms.
yeah,
Kerrigan first, and try
Please.
to work it out before we waste
Yeah.
time filing a motion.
Mom probably has 1 or 2 more months of possibly having to take a lot of time for doctor's appointments and stuff like that. So, be patient with her. This is not easy on her. Her PEP scan may come back and show a lot worse than what we are hoping for. So keep that in mind.
We will. I have 2 sets of notes here, so I am not certain if I addressed Dad's visit during the summer in Las Vegas.
No, you have not addressed that
I
yet.
think that I didn't. So Dad will have the right to have a 4-day visit with Ethan during Mom's summer visitation in Las Vegas. Dad will provide 30 days written notice to Mom of this visit. In even years, he can take the weekend that's closest to Ethan's birthday, which is July 21st, and provide Mom with notice. In odd years, he can select any weekend other than the weekend Mom has selected for the child's birthday.
Which is either the weekend before or weekend after,
Weekend
if you want to have a party on the weekend.
And Dad he can't use this provision to take Mom's July 4th holiday, or when it's her year for Ethan's birthday.
Or mom's birthday, which is July 30th.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
You can take my birthday, sir.
Both parties are going to provide their updated address should they move. They're going to provide proof of that address in the form of a utility bill or a mortgage or a lease. For Mom's provision, the lease may take the form, or the utility bill could be in her husband's name if they are still residing together. I would ask for that same benefit for my client, since he does live with Melissa. If they move, they could provide a utility bill.
I'll think about it. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, so either could provide a utility bill,
Correct.
significant
It can
other.
be significant others. I do not discriminate between, the significant others.
Okay. I want to go through the provisions of the order that we're keeping, and then I'll go to my final thing on the attorney's fees. The provisions of the order that we are going to copy from the July 22nd, 2021 order, obviously on page 2, that the plaintiff will continue to reside in Virginia with the minor child. On page 3, Mom will still have the choice, to exercise Thanksgiving in Virginia on even years. We discussed that earlier, but we'll just copy this provision.
We changed that also to 30 days
30
instead
days.
of 60.
Okay, change that to the 30
And
days.
then I think we determined that the child gets out of school half day on Wednesday, so
So it
mom
would be
could pick up.
from after school
Right, I
on
had some of
Wednesday.
those other things that we put on the record as Mom picking up from school. Also, I already addressed the address provision. We already addressed their,
Address the bottom of the page on page 3.
okay. So we're
Oh,
gonna keep,
no, yeah,
we're gonna keep this provision. We're keeping the child support provision, and we're keeping the provision about the unaccompanied fee.
I still want everybody to check their communications, our family wizard,
Still
daily.
using our family wizard, okay, we will copy that
And
provision.
shall respond, okay? But if he's asking a question, Nicely respond.
Okay.
Pretend like you're talking to me.
And can we
Vice
maybe
versa.
save that for the end, and we can limit the conversation to transportation, medical, school, but any disparagement, like you're a drug addict,
Yeah.
you're stupid.
Only on
F
the
you.
child.
Only about the child.
Only about the child. If you are calling dad a drug addict, then I'm going to assume you're calling the child a drug addict. Okay? Dad, if you're calling mom a you know what, I'm going to assume that's what you're calling the son, because all communications is supposed to be about the child only.
We're going to keep the provision on page 4. It is further ordered that any babysitter chosen by either party shall be disclosed to the other in advance via our family wizard of using their service. The babysitter shall not be less than 16 years old and shall provide the other party with the contact information of the person they choose.
Does not include significant others. It goes without saying significant others can care for the child without notice.
The next section, it's further ordered, and the court has asked me to add that any unreasonable withholding of the child, not returning the minor child on time, or attempts to disappear with the minor child shall be grounds, emphasized, for suspending all further visitation in Nevada. And the court has asked me, and the rest of the
Are we
provisions
gonna leave in there and/or change of custody? I thought we had that in
I
there.
object
No,
to that.
and here's the reason why. That goes without saying. Okay, if dad continues to try to manipulate the situation, the orders, withholding the child, anything like that, I have got 12 factors in which I must consider. Those 12 factors, if they start going to where it's in the best interest of the child for mom to have custody, I will change custody.
The provision that you asked me to add was that it's further ordered that if any visitation or return of the child is occurring, that party must file a motion detailing why they are
Correct.
withholding or failing to return the child.
Yes. There are some emergencies that comes up. Flights get canceled at the last minute. You're sitting at the airport and they cancel the flight on you. That is not an unreasonable withholding of the child. That is circumstances well beyond the parent's control, and I will not order visitation to remain, for something like that. If it's, if mom is in ICU and the child is supposed to be returned, she can't very well get the child on the plane. Hopefully, your husband will call dad to let dad know that you're in ICU. But, there's some things that I'm not going to hold mom responsible for. And it's common sense. So everybody use common sense.
Judge, would you then also just consider taking out grounds for suspending visitation?
No, it's
In Nevada.
grounds.
Or
Grounds.
So that all visitation would take place in Virginia instead?
I
we
do
just
want,
have a
in
hearing?
such an event, visitation will remain in place, but it must take place in Virginia. Take that out right now. I will determine
Yeah,
what the
thank you.
penalties will be for it. If I think it's bad enough that for the 6 months, mom's going to have to undergo parenting plan or parenting classes, and then during that period of time, visitation will only be in Virginia, I will do that. But, I don't want my hands tied. I don't want, if we're not going to put in here where it could change custody or mom gets to keep the child, if dad wrongfully withholds, then, it's going to start being equal. These parents are equal. It's going to be equal. Dad may have primary, but they're both parents.
We're keeping from the order, bottom of page 4, it's further ordered that plaintiff shall provide all information for the minor child's school, doctors, extracurricular activities. We'll copy that provision. I don't think there's anything else from the order that's being copied. And then the final thing that we are stipulating to is that the attorney's fees.
Wait, before you go on, sorry, I thought you were going to add. With regards to that, we had added that mom's name will be listed
Correct.
on the school records as the mother.
Correct.
Melissa can be listed something else, but she's not listed as the mother. And
And we're just saying that this is how it has to be. You'd be
It's emergency
surprised.
contact.
you would be surprised at how many people we have to tell this to. So we're just saying it.
I understand that
Okay.
the school already has a court order.
Okay, but you know,
And that doctors.
Melissa is the emergency contact
That's fine.
because you know
Yeah, that's fine.
she's the one closest there. But mom needs to be listed as mom.
And all medical information.
Yeah, all medical information. You know, and I'm pretty sure Dad does that. It's just I'm such a nitpicky person over this one instance, you know, on this that I just want to make sure it's on the record.
And I guess Dad's asking, and he's reasonable, that any doctor that mom takes the child to, he should be listed as the dad.
Absolutely.
Any providers.
You know, and if mom, during the period of time that she has a child, if it's going to, you know, only if it's an emergency, do you not contact Dad first? Okay, if it's not an emergency, you must call Dad. There's got to be doctors in this town that has already seen the child. Try to be consistent with the person who's seeing him, because then there's records already there on what's up.
Okay, and unfortunately, I did not get to finish going over the rest of this
Oh no!
with my client, and so he is unfortunately surprised by some of this, and I
Oh, okay.
apologize for that to you. We did discuss the bills for the therapist Rachel Barrows, and
Yeah, he's going to blow us.
The proposal was that you're not going to get reimbursement for.
It's not a proposal. That's how I was going to
Well,
order it.
but for me to agree to something that hasn't been run by him,
Yeah.
I need to explain this to him. But, so you're going to pay the therapist bills that have already been incurred. For the therapy bills going forward, those will be split equally pursuant to the 30-30 rule. Mom has 30 days to contact and approve of Ms. Barrows. If she does not contact her within 30 days, or she does not notify you that she objects to Ms. Barrows, child continues with therapy with Ms. Barrows, you continue to send her bills and split pursuant to the 30-30 rule. If mom contacts Ms. Barrows and does not agree to continue, then the parties will choose a new therapist together. I would propose that Dad be able to provide 3 names and mom choose one.
Yes.
And I would ask that that be chosen within 7 days, so we don't have a huge delay.
Yes.
In
7 days, and then mom will have 7 days to research to find out which one she wants. If she does not do that within 7 days, then Dad gets to choose.
And Your Honor, I think in fairness to my client, you know, we ought to have a time limit. I don't want this kid in therapy for 10 years and mom gets a bill once a week. The child may need to go to therapy twice a month, maybe once a month as needed, but that's an expense that I think
He
we
doesn't
wanna
need,
talk
okay,
about.
I don't think the child needs weekly. Yeah, I don't see it. He's only 8 years old. If they're in therapy over and over and over again, we turn him into a bunch of wusses who has to have somebody to talk over every little decision. You know, probably once a month is all he needs.
Your Honor, I think this should be directed by the therapist. I don't think it's appropriate
If
for
something
all of
comes,
us
well, no,
to
if
decide.
something comes up and the therapist thinks there's more time than the parents, plural.
Oh, you know what, my client
It's
just made
to
a good
choose.
point. Dad does not carry health insurance for the child, or at least he didn't at the day he was deposed, so.
Dad,
it's
do you
not-
have health insurance?
I'm not, I don't personally have health insurance for Ethan. I don't know what health insurance he has here in Nevada. Mom told me.
What
that
health
she had-
insurance do you have in
I don't have
Virginia?
any health insurance in Virginia. As mom stated, she carried the child's health insurance through her work. That was all a lie. I just realized.
Well,
just
she's got
recently-
Medicaid.
We know that now.
That's not what
Prior,
she-
she had it through her work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dad, you have primary fiscal custody. You are now living in the state of Virginia. What in whose mind would think that mom would carry health insurance for the state of Virginia?
No, she had Blue Cross Blue Shield, Your Honor, and she testified.
Get health
that
insurance for your child. I'm not going to have her pay full amount, 50-50 on therapy. Get the health insurance and then make sure whatever therapist is within
I've
that
already offered
coverage.
to take care of all his health insurance.
For the counseling.
That's why he's sending her the bills, because he's gonna take care of all of
This
it?
is ridiculous.
No, he said all of the health insurance.
He said this is ridiculous. I wanna know.
I know,
what
I heard
part-
that.
What part, that you don't have insurance for your child? That's ridiculous?
I don't think it's appropriate to address my client. As I stated previously.
You know what? There's a lot of things that you don't find appropriate.
He did not get to hear the rest of this.
I realize
in the
that.
interest of time, and he is understandably surprised by some of the things that were
Well,
not
that's
been
what
discussed
happens when
outside
you
his
don't
presence.
discuss and get approval before you take them to somebody.
We discussed this without our clients. We were at a bit of a disadvantage. But
No. I'm talking about the therapist. He should have known to, hey, Mom, here's the name of the person. Do you approve? It was not an emergency. The kid was not threatening to slash his wrists. That's just proper parenting. You involve the other parent. You're not the sole decision maker. Stop thinking you are. Now that I've bitched at him again, I'm sorry. Excuse my language on the record.
then
I
we have to
apologize.
get after the other party for the equal treatment with the dentist.
I kind of jumped onto her, didn't I?
even more
Didn't I
egregious as
jump
far as
onto you
I'm
about the
concerned.
dentist?
Even more egregious. If she gets the 6 cavities filled and pulls the tooth that's black and rotten, that's egregious.
Which I altered.
Dental sedation
Oh,
should
then
not
she
be
altered
done
the
without
tooth,
parental
too.
consent. If he had surgery on this child without the consent,
Okay,
he'd be
let me
upset.
ask you something. You said without parental consent. Are you saying that she is not a parent?
I'm saying both parents should consent to that. Honestly, that's a decision that would be discussed with both
But yet
parents.
neither one of them understood this. That's why we are moving forward. That's why everyone's going to have an opportunity to come in here and tell me what you want me to hear
So what
so that we can move forward.
I have the final thing, which is the attorney's fees. On the attorney's fees,
Can I just,
for the Nevada fees that were awarded to you, the $1,500, that is going to be deducted from the $3,800 that she was awarded.
I think it was $38.50, but I'm not exactly
I'm not sure
We can
exactly
figure
what
out.
it is.
Okay. And that will be the amount of attorney's fees. The goal of this is to have one order that we're referencing and one order that's
Correct.
enforceable that contains everything that the parties are going to follow.
Yeah, that is going to be the law of the case from this point forward. Ms. Kerrigan is the one who's going to be preparing it. Ms. Ray will approve. I'll flip a coin if y'all can't agree.
One provision that we didn't talk about that can apply both ways, there are some exhibits in our book, actually one in their book, that they say is between mom and dad. It's not. It's between dad and her husband. It's horrific. Mom is asking that dad not be able to contact husband and threaten, and that goes both ways. She's not going to be contacting Melissa and making disparaging remarks or threatening anybody. If it's an emergency, that's fine, but you know, if you can't reach mom, you don't get to call Jamie and harass and threaten.
Yeah.
It's not right.
And this is again
And vice versa.
being
And vice versa.
misrepresented. That was on the incident where the child was not returned. And certainly if the child is not returned and you want to make a phone call to the other party, I think you are entitled to do that.
Just
but
keep it
here's what I-
respectful.
But unless it's an emergency, I don't think either side has plans to contact
No.
the other parties.
Emergencies only is when you can, when either one of you can contact the significant other. I mean, if mom is in ICU, dad needs to be able to contact your husband. Respectful.
Yeah, that's all.
Talk to them the way you want to be talked to and the way you want your significant other to be talked to. Not the way I talk to y'all.
So I think that that's what we have
Okay.
for the order.
All right, I need the parties to stand and be placed under oath again.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Dad, I'm going to start with you. No, you can stay there. You can stay in your seat. This is the easy part. Do you believe that the terms and conditions that was placed on the record today was in the best interest of your son?
Yes, ma'am.
And that is okay that when they provide me with an order, I'm able to sign it.
Yeah, I do have a lot of concerns, but yes, ma'am, I do think it's fair. I think it's
That's
in the
why-
best interest of Ethan.
Okay. Mom, you listened to the terms that was placed on the record.
Yes.
Do you believe that it is in the best interest of your son for me to enter an order on these terms?
Yes.
Thank you. The court will adopt those findings. It is enforceable in accordance with 7.50 as of today, from this point forward. Now we're going to go off the record so that we can get the rest off of everybody's chest and hopefully put things behind us.